cluttered garage. I'm really glad you're here. A place where we can laugh and talk and days are filled with cheer. The clouds and sun may come and go, but one thing's always clear. Welcome back, my friend. You know I'm really glad you're here. Yeah.
Hey, welcome back, my friends. I am really glad you're here because we have a really special show for you tonight. It is live stream number 121, and the date is June 12th, 2023. So, if you're new to the live stream, normally we're talking about tractors and gardening and outdoor projects and life in the country. But, sometimes I like to bring people on and talk about different types of interesting subjects. And I'm kind of I'm kind of a deep thinker, and I think it's important for us to focus on things like mental health, for instance, and, just being good people overall. So I'm so excited that tonight we've got our friend John Furniss, the blind woodsman, who's going to be joining us in just a moment. And special guest with John and is his wife Annie, who is an artist, and they work together. So we'll get to talk to both of them, which I'm really excited for. If it is your first time here, please say hi in the live chat. We want to welcome you here, and also let us know how you found the channel. Was it on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok? Let me know how you got here, because we do this every Monday night from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we've only missed a couple in the past 121, well, whatever it is. However long we've been doing this, we've only missed a couple. So join us Monday nights. And also, if you're watching, especially from YouTube, if you click that thumbs up, I really appreciate that a lot. We talked about John's joining us shortly. So that's what tonight's show is going to be about. John is a 100% blind woodworker. He is a suicide survivor, and he has come such a long way and is going to share his story with us, and then get into why, how he learned to be a woodworker and the things that he does today, and what his passion is, and what his career is, and his life. And then, of course, Annie is a partner with that, because as an artist, they collaborate on projects too, which is really exciting. I also want to give a shout out to the students over at Ranch Hope. Our friends at Ranch Hope are watching live right now from the chapel or the cafetorium or wherever you guys are. You're watching live, and we are all glad that you're here, because as young people, I think that John's message is especially important and hopefully inspiring to you. It can be inspiring to all of us, but young people have a hard time. Life is hard for a young person to be moving into the world. So I'm glad that the ranch is participating in this and that you're here. And I just want to say to you guys at the ranch, anytime I've done anything with you, you are exceptional. I'm so impressed with the maturity of the students there, and you guys are always so respectful. And I just want you to know that you're going to be okay. So thanks for being here. I do appreciate that. We have a lot of live chat comments here tonight. I'm going to have to skip through some of that and just give kind of a general hello. But I do want to say that once we start talking, if you have a specific question for me or for John or for Annie, if you would post your question in the live chat with this type of format. Write the word question followed by your question, and it kind of stands out some more. So anyway, I just got a text from the ranch. They are watching live in the chapel. So Roger, thanks for the message, and good to know that you're tuned in. So good deal. So that's about it. Let's bring John and Annie on, and then we're going to talk about all kind of stuff. So welcome, John and Anni Furniss. Hey, kids.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Doing
Good.
well. Thank you. Thanks for
I'm sorry. I introduced John and Annie, but I didn't introduce Pickle.
Oh yeah, he's sleeping.
He's sleeping right down here.
Yep. I don't know if you can see him, but
Here's
there
our
he is.
bud.
There he is. Oh, don't wake him up for our sake, right?
It's okay.
Oh, he'll just go back to sleep. He's had his dinner, and so he's nice and happy.
Pickle, the unofficial guide dog.
Yeah, the unofficial guide me into the street dog.
Well, he's obviously a good friend. I've seen him in a lot of your videos.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of, last time you joined me, John, was, I don't know, a year or so ago. You had like 1 million TikTok followers, which is like, blow me away, amazing. And now you're almost at 2 million.
Yep. It's crazy.
How does that feel?
It feels unreal, honestly. I mean, it's incredible. I can hardly even believe it. And a lot of the majority of the credit goes to my lovely lady here because she does all of our like social media stuff and that kind of, we make a really good team, but she does one of the most important parts of it. That's for darn sure.
Well, you're the talent and she's the producer, right?
There you go. But she is also the talent.
That's true.
She's every bit as talented as I am, and in many ways more so.
Thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome. Because she does, I mean, she paints and does fiber art and photography and sculpture, so.
That she does, for sure. In fact, let me show a short little clip here of one of your TikTok videos. And we'll see both of you and Annie interacting together.
I am a blind woodworker, and my wife is also an artist, and here's a day in our life. First, Annie made me some breakfast.
Thank you very much, honeybee.
You're welcome, sweetie. Enjoy.
I will.
This is how our furry intern starts his workday.
After I package up orders, we go to the post office to drop them off.
After we got back, Annie came out to the shop to film me working on a project.
I headed back inside to find our furry intern asleep from all his hard work. And here I am packaging up some of my art postcards.
I headed inside to show Annie the project I had finished.
After a quick cuddle with our pup, I got to work updating our website. And then after I made some art and worked on some social media stuff, I made soup for dinner.
Thank you very much, honeybee.
That is so nice. And so you are either officially or unofficially known as Honeybee, Annie.
Yes.
Yes.
When
I
did
think it's
that-
actually become official.
When did that start? When did you start calling Annie Honeybee?
Oh, I've called you honeybee most of our relationship, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think,
I
I don't
mean-
know, it just started one day. And
Yeah,
then,
I just,
Stuck.
honey and then honeybee, it just sounded right.
Yep. And he's anything from baby to sweetie to
Mhm.
honey.
Does he ever call you Annie?
Rarely.
Sometimes.
Very rarely, but that's fine. I prefer honeybee. So.
Yeah.
If you get mad, right? I know you guys did a little video about, do you ever argue because you're always so sweet to each other? And,
Yes.
Everybody does.
Everyone does. It's part of being
Yeah.
human,
Yeah.
But I think the good thing is about you learn how to communicate with each other.
Mhm, exactly.
So.
that's not easy, right?
No,
No.
it's not. And I mean, really, any relationship takes work. It's
Mm.
not, relationships don't just happen. There's
Yeah.
everybody is an individual, and you come together and you like
that's-
each other.
Yeah, and that's every relationship.
Yeah.
That's like with your siblings, with your
friends,
coworkers,
Yeah,
and it starts with you. It starts
Mhm.
with yourself first.
Absolutely.
Because if you do the work on yourself and then learn how to communicate your feelings with to others,
Yeah,
then it makes your relationships a lot better.
yeah,
So true. And like you said, it starts with yourself. And I'll repeat this, that 2 lessons. I've thought about this over the past few years. My mother died when I was 24 years old, so I had a very short time with her. And through the years, I thought about, what did I learn from mom? And there were 2 things that always came back to me. And the one is to live by the golden rule in all situations, that if you treat others the way you'd like to be treated, it just works. It's not easy to do, but
Mhm.
when you sort of get that mindset of, why would I speak to someone this way if I wouldn't want somebody to speak to me that way? Why would I treat somebody this way if I wouldn't, so to treat others the way you want to be treated. And the other one that she taught me is that you can't love anyone until you learn to love yourself.
That is
And
true. Yeah.
that I remember, gosh, I think I was 10 years old, and she was actually a mental health administrator. She went to college after my father died. I was 2 years old when he died. She put herself through nursing school, and then she went to college to become a mental health counselor, and then she became a mental health administrator. So anyway, she was into all that mental health stuff. And I think I was like 10 years old when she said, I think there was somebody that was not very nice. And she said, well, he doesn't love himself. And I was like, you love yourself. Like as a kid, I didn't get it. But as an adult, you start to mature and understand
it's,
these
you
things.
know, it's a struggle. I definitely think that a lot of people struggle with that, with liking yourself or loving yourself. And, you know, I mean, you can still have, I mean, and I speak from experience because I struggle with self-esteem issues myself, and I still have very fulfilling relationships with people, even though I do struggle with, you know, loving myself. But you know, it's a work in progress. You know,
it is, right? Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with saying that you're still working on it. And but just to realize that goal of, if you can truly love yourself the way you were, who you are, the way you were made, and that doesn't mean you give up on trying to improve yourself too, right? It doesn't mean like, you know, I'm good, I love myself. It's like, I want to be the best person I can be. And you two really display that, at least in all your videos, you know, you really do. So I appreciate your relationship. I really do. And I think that's probably one of the reasons a lot of people watch your channel, your TikTok account, is because they like to see you two interact. So
thank you.
Not to mention your amazing artwork. That certainly is something that's just, well, it's just amazing. So we're going to talk about woodworking a little bit, John. I do want to go back though, because this is a heavy subject and we want to put it out there. And you do talk about it because you want to help others. You're a suicide survivor.
I am.
And that's a pretty big deal. That's difficult to really accept. And you were 16 years old, as I recall.
Yeah, that's right. I was 16. And it's something that I don't mind talking about. It's, you know, talking about it over and over and over again can get overwhelming, but it's something that I don't mind sharing, because if I can help other people with my experience, I'm more than happy to share it. And it's one of those things that as the years go by, I think about it more and more, and I try and examine it more and more. And it's easy. They say hindsight is 20/20, and a lot of times I say it can kiss my butt while it's back there. But it also teaches you a lot. And I don't know, I guess if I could talk to myself back then, I would tell myself to hang tight, that, you know, reach out, talk to your friends, and you know, don't do anything permanent. You know,
John and I talk about this often, how you know, most of the time, you know, it's a temporary feeling, it's a temporary moment, and it unfortunately turns into a permanent thing, you know, a lot of the time. And luckily for John, it is permanent in a lot of ways because of his blindness, but his life is still, you know, he still has his life. So.
I feel really as if I was born when I became blind. Like I feel like I had the before blindness life and then after. And I'm just such a different person. And of course my life has taken such a different pathway too. But in many ways, I feel like I'm supposed to be blind. I really do, because it has helped me to help others. It's helped me to find who I am. And I've found somebody I like. Not to mention, I found somebody I love.
That's really nice. And as I recall, you made a statement last time we talked, or you've said on other interviews, that you feel that you had to lose your sight to gain your vision.
Yes, that is very true. I really do feel like my imagination opened up. Pardon me. And I've always had a really vivid imagination, a really good, just kind of creative mind. And I think it, in ways, has helped me explore that.
Your blindness?
Yeah, my blindness. Sorry. My blindness, in many ways, I think has helped me explore that because of, I create my own reality. I imagine where I am and who I'm with and what I'm doing. And I think that has helped me to, helped my imagination. It's helped me to do the artwork that I do and those kind of things and navigate as well as I do.
Well, from what I understand, that when you are blind, your other senses become a little more, I don't know if it's hypersensitive, but do you have, well, I was just going to ask you about your sense of smell, but as I recall, did you not lose that too? I
did lose that as well. I can still taste, luckily. I know a lot of people, when they lose their sense of smell, they also lose their taste, which
That's right.
I that would not be fun. And Annie here is a great cook, so I got lucky there too. But I would say it's a little bit of I'm using it more because I have to, and maybe it also has sharpened a bit. Like,
so, for example, today we did a live from his wood shop on TikTok, and the lathe was on, and he was turning at the lathe, and I was like really close to the camera or to the phone so that people could hear me answer questions, and I would say to them, "Oh, I'll ask him when he's done because he can't hear me," and then he would answer.
I would call out the answer.
He would call out the answer because his hearing is incredible, and he can hear very well. And I just forget that.
Part of the way I carve on the lathe, I listen to that sound. I know what's happening because of the way it sounds. And so I am definitely very attuned to those kind of things.
I'm sure when you're your specialty are bowls on the lathe, lathe work, and I've done a little bit of woodworking myself and haven't paid as much attention to the sound, but I do know that as you're cutting through a piece of wood or as it gets thinner, you hear that pitch change.
So
like with the hands. You can probably kind of tell the thickness of the wood just by the sound of that cutting tool against the wood.
Yeah, well, and also when you're using a table saw or something like that, you listen to the sound of the motor so that you don't push it too hard, or and with experience you get that too. And I think you pay attention to that more than you realize.
Yeah, that may be true, that it all works together. I want to show another quick clip here of you with one of your projects.
Alrighty. Hey there, honeybee.
Hi. Oh, did you make a new bowl?
I did.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Somebody else is very excited. Michael.
Got anything to trade?
Oh, I do. Hold up. Wait, let me see. What's that underneath the bowl there? Why don't you move that bowl?
Wow. This is my apron that's seen better days.
Okay, I have something for you. Just give me a second.
Okay, put your head down. I have a new apron for you.
Yes. Oh, like night and day. This other one just got run over by a bulldozer.
So I'll take the bowl and you can take the apron.
All right, I'll go do more work.
I love you.
Love you too, honeybee.
That was a good trade.
Yep.
And a well-needed apron for sure. You wore that out, John. And
that one was done for.
Yeah, he actually hasn't been wearing the apron much because it's been warm in the wood shop.
Yeah. Are you very aware when you put your apron on. I mean, you're around spinning equipment. So do you feel and make sure that you don't have any loose
Oh yeah, I tie
ties
it
or anything?
tight around my body so that it's not, flapping around, and I always have the strings back behind my back. So yeah, I make sure I don't have anything hanging out in the wind,
That's good. There's a question here about your projects too, about purchasing your projects. I know that you have a website, and I think it's theblindwoodsman.com. Is that correct?
And also Furniss Studios. So
It's either one. Yeah, they go to the same
one,
place.
Either one.
It's easier just at theblindwoodsman.com. We do a restock, and our next one will be on the 25th.
Yeah.
So June 25th.
Usually every 2 or 3 weeks.
Yep. Yeah. But in the meantime, there's merch, and my artwork is there.
Yeah.
And
you can get T-shirts with my logo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we made one called Light Junkies.
Yeah, because I have a joke about, like, all you sighted people, you're all light junkies. From the moment you wake up till the moment you go to sleep, you gotta have your lights.
Yeah. So, and that video went viral, so we made T-shirts that say Light Junkies on them.
That's awesome. That's so funny. So again, John, I appreciate your sense of humor so much, and I think that when you talk about mental health, I think that's an important part of being healthy, is being able to laugh, and you kind of have to accept situations and make the best of it. So I know you've had your share of blind jokes, but you're not easily offended, which is good.
Yeah, no, I mean, unless somebody is literally going out of their way to offend me, I love to answer questions, because when you dispel ignorance, understanding comes, and hatred and fear go away.
Yeah. Hey, I heard a good one today, by the way. Maybe you'll appreciate this, or maybe you'll be offended by it. It was a blind guy walks into a bar, and a table and a chair.
I love that one.
We love that one. Yeah.
I love that one. Yeah.
So another question. We're going to show some questions that the students at the ranch sent me some questions to share with you, and I'm excited to share those.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that here in just a minute, because our time is going to go really quick. But great question here from our friend Chris. Can you kind of refresh us on the journey from post-injury recovery to woodworking? How you went from, and again, I know it's a long story, but you woke up in the hospital and your life was changed from that point forward. And then where did you go?
Well, so, I guess at first I just kind of had to come to grips with it. And something that really helped was I have a photographic memory, to the point where, since I had seen all the places that I had been in my town and stuff, I could just see it in front of me. I really, had a really keen sense of spatial awareness, and I changed the rear wheel bearings in my old car by myself a month after I got out of the hospital. So those things helped a lot. Those, being able to adapt, relatively quickly. But at the same time, I think it also helped me avoid facing the fact of my blindness, which, I mean, it sounds odd. Like, how do you not face being totally blind? It's kind of everywhere. But, it's easy to tell ourselves what we want to hear. And I got involved in drugs really heavily. And I, pardon me. So that, of course, put me back down to the bottom of the barrel again. And so when I was 17, my parents put me into a rehab kind of place, and that worked for a while. And as many people know, if you're not ready, then it's not going to work. But at the same time, like, you can learn, you can, you can find ways even still. And so for the next several years, I kind of went between clean and not, and I moved back to the town I grew up in, which was a terrible mistake because it's just a little town out in the middle of nowhere, and there was nothing but trouble for me there. I ended up starting to actually deal drugs as well as use drugs. I got put on probation. I got arrested and put on probation for that. And I, for the next several years, then it was just kind of just a mess, really. Just using really heavily. And one of the turning points was I had been living in some pretty, rundown boarding house kind of places, and I wasn't taking very good care of myself. And I ended up getting a life-threatening sinus infection that I ended up having to have surgeries for. The first time I had surgery, they didn't get rid of the infection and just really did kind of a bad job. And when it recurred, it was like a radioactive monster. It was just so bad that they actually had to remove all the bone in my forehead and replace it with a prosthetic plate. And that was, they literally told me, we don't know how you're alive, and we don't know how you're not completely and totally fundamentally brain damaged still being alive. I think I took that as a little bit of a sign, and finally reached out to my family and asked them for help, and they took me in and helped me stop using meth and cocaine and get me off probation and really kind of start my life again. And I'd always been interested in woodworking, and about the time it was right about the time I was getting off probation, I decided I wanted to figure out some sort of employment. So I was working with vocational rehab, and one of the things that they had was it was a school, call it an independent living center for the blind. They teach cooking, cleaning, braille, stuff like that. And they also had a wood shop. And that is when I started woodworking after I was blind. And that's when I started fine woodworking. Up until that point, I had done some tinkering, this, that, and the other thing. But up until then, I'd never really done any fine woodworking. And I discovered my thing that I do better than anything else. I discovered my passion. And it was wonderful too, because it was something that it gave me a light at the end of the tunnel that I wanted to have there, but I didn't know how to turn it on. And so for the next few years, I woodworked a lot with, so I've never been good with computers. I'm just not a computer guy. And the unfortunate thing is most employment for blind people, or at least the large majority of it, is dealing with computers in one way or another. So vocational rehab didn't really know what to do with me. And they weren't really able to find me any employment. But about the time we were both figuring that out, the woodshop teacher, who I have become really close friends with, was retiring. And so he invited me to come and hang out and woodwork with him. And so for the next couple of years, that's what I did. I built some lamps and a table. Actually, a very nice table. I'm very proud of that one.
And they built a wood shop.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Together. Two blind guys.
Yeah. He's also mostly blind. He's got one functioning eye at about 2,300 or so. And yeah, right from the boards on the ground to the shingles on the roof and everything in between.
You built the physical structure. I'm thinking you outfitted a wood shop. You actually built a building.
Oh yeah. We built an entire building. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. And so for a few years, I just kind of hung out with him and woodworked and basically just developed my fine woodworking skills. And then in 2011, I had heard about a school up here in Washington that teaches piano tuning and repair for the blind, or to the blind anyway. And so I decided that sounded like it was perfect for me, and came up here, and I was accepted to the school. And most of piano repair is actually fine-tuned woodworking, because the majority of a piano is either wood, leather, or felt. And then I found the best thing since I came up here. In 2012, I was attending extra courses at the school because they taught tuning and just basic repair. And I ended up learning how to fully and completely rebuild pianos, knew everything. And so I was there doing an extra class, and Annie happened to be there because she's an artist, and she was volunteering for this program. It's a fundraiser that they did every year. And so businesses would sponsor a piano that was painted by a local artist, and to get donations. And she was painting a piano in the same room that I was repairing a different piano. And of course, my hand goes in the wet paint like an iron bar to a magnet. It's just the way it's going to be. Luckily, I didn't, like knock out Mona Lisa's teeth or anything, it was just primer. But, and then we got to talking, and I played Joni Mitchell. And I think that was when I really started to hook her.
Yeah.
Kindred spirits.
Yes. Joni Mitchell's my favorite musician. And when he played one of her songs on his playlist, I was like, who is this guy?
Big Yellow Taxi.
Like this guy.
And I believe that song came directly after a Primus song.
He has diverse taste in music. Yeah. And then we worked in the same classroom.
Yeah.
So I was working with some kids from a homeless shelter. They were actually the ones doing the main part of the piano. I was just priming it. And we had gotten together as a group the week before at the shelter, and I asked them to vote on a theme. And the theme, coincidentally or not, was love. So they did hearts. They put hearts all over the piano, with like little sayings in them and everything. It was very sweet. And so John and I were able to, have conversations for the first week or so that we were working. And I got up the courage to ask him for his phone number. And
so she calls me, and I said, I'm busy at the moment. I'll have to call you back. And I was busy trying to think of what we could do with no money.
Yeah,
because I was broke. And so I'm trying to figure out what could I possibly, and I had this garden patch I was renting at a local community center. And I had a huge patch of peas, tons of peas, and they needed to be harvested. And I knew that she was an earthy girl like that. And so I called her up and asked her if she wanted to go pick peas. And it was perfect. We sat in the dirt till sunset and talked. And my friends kind of gave me a hard time, though. They're like, really? You're going to go to the garden?
Make her work.
And they're like, it's like one of those dating shows. They interview the two people. And we went to the garden, pick peas. I thought it was great. And he made me pick peas in his garden.
No, it was very romantic.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting married in the same garden spot.
Yeah.
3 years later.
That's beautiful. Hey, and you've also, I'm going to get to these questions here from the kids here as well. But our friend John Ritter is asking a question. I think he's talking about the show you were on recently was Kelly Clarkson. Is that right?
Yeah.
How exciting was that?
That was very exciting. Yeah. I was on for a couple of minutes, and I mean, I didn't go to the show, of course, but that was pretty amazing. The last few years have been this like incredible whirlwind. It's hard to even describe.
Yeah, since our last conversation, you had a beautiful feature in People Magazine, and then of course the Kelly Clarkson show, and you're still just two people, working on your art, on your life. Has that become overwhelming for you? Like, has it put any pressure on you to perhaps perform more or produce more?
We definitely we actually will pull back a little bit
Yeah.
after a media appearance, because it does get very overwhelming.
Yeah.
We're just a couple of, I don't know, we're just a couple of normal people,
Yeah.
We're not interested in fame, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is really cool, and we think it's wonderful that John's story is getting out there, and we love to share our art with the world. But it is very overwhelming for just normal people to get so much attention all at once.
Yeah.
And so we try to find balance in it all.
Yeah. Has your privacy been affected at all from all this?
A little bit. We can't go out of the house without being recognized.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and that includes going to other towns too.
Yeah, we go to we like to go to Long Beach for vacation for a couple of days here and there, and we'll be walking down the street and somebody will say, "That's the Blind Woodsman,"
which is super awesome.
It is.
I mean,
It's super,
Of course, John hears it.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Think you can whisper around me?
yeah.
There's definitely nothing wrong with people stopping and saying hi. It's very cool. We both think it's amazing.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
And we actually carry stickers around so that with our logo, so that if we run into somebody like that, we can give them a sticker.
Yeah. People are always very kind. No one's ever rude to us. And
That's fun. Hey, before we wrap up tonight too, I usually do a sticker giveaway. If you're interested in contributing and offering up one of your stickers,
art stickers too with her paintings on them.
Yeah, we can do both. We can do Blind Woodsman stickers and Annie stickers.
That's fun. We'll add that. All right, let's go back to the students here at the ranch. I've got a question here. We'll kind of do maybe a lightning round here.
Okay.
And first question here, I think it's Jasser. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I'm sorry. I'm going to play this, and then you can answer his question.
Okay.
What is the last thing you remember seeing? Do you still visualize it today?
What is the last thing you remember seeing that you still visualize today?
Well, there's tons of things.
You have such a visual mind.
Yeah, I do. I have such a visual mind. I constantly imagine things, but I'll tell one of the most beautiful, incredible things I've ever seen. So it was at Devil's Tower in Wyoming, and I don't know if anybody knows what that is. It's just a huge rock formation in Wyoming.
I've been there.
If you've ever seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind, they go to the top of that like they're running up a ramp, and it's not. Anyway, I digress. So there's a pathway that goes all around it, and off to one side, there's this cliff after you go through the woods a bit, and it's probably about 2,000 feet tall. And right in front of it is this meadow that stretches out for about 10 miles, just emerald green. And off to the left is a large lake. And then off about 20 or probably about 40 or so miles off in the distance are these beautiful blue mountains, just the bluest you could ever see, with white snow caps and just a perfect blue sky. And that was one of the nicest things I think I've ever seen.
And that's a strong memory for you. You remember seeing that, and it's as vivid today for you.
Yeah, I wish I'd had a picture of that. It was wonderful.
Now you have a picture.
I do.
You do. Excellent. All right, let's see what Nick has to say.
I'm Nick from Ranch Hope, and when you open your eyelids, what do you see?
Well, I am 100% blind, so it doesn't matter if I open them or not. And I have nerve damage, so this is as far as I can open them without actually opening them with my fingers.
Yeah. The only
so
time
they're naturally closed. You don't close your eyes. It's from the nerve damage. They just are closed.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen his eyes a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I ever saw his eyes was at the doctor. He had a seizure,
Mm-hmm.
and we went to the emergency room, and the doctor, it was the beginning of our relationship, and the doctor opened his eye, and he has these amazing light blue eyes
Thank
from
you.
it's from the from the blindness.
Yeah.
Because his eyes used to be brown.
Yeah. Yeah.
But his eyes are really cool looking, actually.
I actually kind of like it that they're closed, honestly, because it protects me.
Yeah.
There's been lots of times that I've scratched my eyelid instead of my eyeball.
That's right. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
All right, we have another question from Ramir coming up.
Hi, I'm Ramir, and my question is, how did you feel when you realized that you would be blind for the rest of your life?
That's kind of an interesting story. So I, in the hospital, I, realized it. And when I got home, I kind of had to come to grips with it and stuff. But I also just kind of had to keep going with life. I was still in high school and stuff, and I kept going. And the time when it hit me the hardest, and I really realized it down to the core of me, was about 10 years after I had become blind. And I was sitting there, and I'd been talking with a friend of mine, and we were trying to remember what color this actress's eyes were. And I was sitting there thinking, and I was like, I'm going to have to watch that movie and see what color her eyes were. And the way it went through my head, it was almost like someone else had said it. And it hit me like a million tons of bricks. And I remember thinking, I'm not going to ever see that movie again. I'm not ever going to see anything ever again. And that hit me really hard. But I'm glad that it hit me then, because I had developed the tools that I needed to deal with something so fundamentally just impactful.
That's heavy. That's really heavy. Yeah.
But,
wow. All right. Let's before I go to the next question, there's a comment here from the username is Big Bird, and he says, John, your story is incredible. I'm glad you're here and sharing your story. I know a couple of people that aren't here anymore, unfortunately. So I think we've all been touched by this in one way or another. And again, you're inspirational to so many people, and we appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Big Bird.
So here's a question from Harry. And then we have 2 more questions after that we're going
to
play.
I'm Harry from Rancho. What motivates you to keep going?
Woodworking is one of the things that motivates me to keep going. It gives me a creative outlet. It allows me to take this image that's in my mind that only I can see, and then make a real physical object that I can hand to you and say, this is what I saw in my mind. And also knowing that things change, knowing that tomorrow will be tomorrow, and that the next day will be the next day, and that everything eventually changes. And try to think of all the times that you have waited and waited and waited for something, and then it finally came, and you thought, wow, it was like nothing. That wasn't so bad at all. And then, that can help a lot. But I would say those are some of the main things. Finding, something outside of yourself that you can devote yourself to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we both use art to motivate each other, ourselves and each
I was
other.
going to say that applies to everybody, not just whether you're blind or have any other.
Well, and it doesn't have to be art either. Maybe you like mechanics. Maybe you like computers. Maybe you like, tracking animals through the forest. You can find,
It sounds to me like the answer really is expression.
And connection too. I think connection's really important.
Absolutely.
Because I think a lot of the time people isolate themselves. I know I'm guilty of that. And when you like John is a motivator for me.
Yeah.
In my life, he inspires me every day, and the connection that we have really keeps me going in life.
Yeah.
So.
And I had this profound thought while you were talking about that, John, and I'm trying to express it. What I saw in my mind is when you make something out of wood, it's almost an expression of sight for you.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
you're seeing it in your mind,
Yeah.
and then you actually create this physical object, and you can
Yeah.
hand it to a person with sight, and now they can see what you saw. Like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of gives me chills thinking about that.
Mhm.
It's
It's
again, it's communication. It's all that. It's expression. Um, really, really neat.
Thank you.
So here's a question from Lyle.
I'm Lyle from Barnegat, and I would like to know what type of music you listen to.
That's an awesome question.
It is.
Yeah.
I listen to almost all kinds of music. I don't very much like rap, and I don't care too much for country, even though there are a couple of songs.
Which is funny because I love both rap and country.
Yeah,
so I
yeah,
make up
but
for it. Yeah.
I mean, I like folk music. I like heavy metal. I like dubstep. I'll tell you some of the artists I like. Blues Traveler. I really like fingerstyle guitar. Alan Gogol, that guy is fingerstyle guitarist. It's like they have 12 fingers and a different brain for each hand. Blues Traveler. I probably already said that one.
Yep, that's okay.
Knife Party. Oh boy, Alicia Keys. I mean, there's just so many different that I listen to.
Yeah.
If I like it, I listen to it.
Would some of these young people know what you're even talking about? Would they know?
Maybe.
I don't know,
Do you think they'd be familiar?
Yeah, I mean, like,
Possibly.
I like my music is pretty, I guess, different than John's. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really into like Erykah Badu and Missy Elliott and the Chicks, they used to be the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah.
I don't know. My music's really diverse, like Joni Mitchell and yeah, I don't know, the Shins.
Yeah.
So we're both of our we like a lot of the same things, but also we like a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Great question. I've got a final question here from Christian, and I remember previewing this question, not previewing, but when they sent it, I uploaded it to the site here. And I think Christian's question is so thoughtful, and it's really deep. So here's Christian's quick little question.
I'm from New Jersey. My name is Christian. And how do you know who to trust as a blind man?
That is a really good question.
That is a very good question.
Yeah.
That one, it's kind of a combination of things, really. Like, I have to trust my instinct, because really you get a feeling about people, and your instinct is there for a reason. Listen to it. And also, for the most part, most of the people that will reach out to you to help you actually do want to help you. Like, I've come into contact with the better part of humanity, really. But at the same time, I have had people cheat me and steal from me and, take advantage of me and stuff. But I guess it's a matter of trusting my instincts and a matter of having faith in humanity.
That's true. I mean, they're the ones who have to live with it. If they did that to you, that's, shame on them, right?
Yeah. And also, like, there are the people that I know that I trust, and if they have people that they know and trust, that's one way. But yeah, that's a very good question.
One question here too, from BT Handy. They're asking, is that a safe travel over water emblem you have on? I think talking about your necklace. I know we talked about this last time, but you always have this on. So can you tell us about that again?
It's called a manaya, which actually it does mean safe journey over water. It just means safety in general. And also known as a whalebone. It's from the Maori people. It's from New Zealand. My brother went down to Australia and became friends with a Maori gentleman, and he gave this to my brother. And then when I became blind, my brother gave it to me. And For the first couple of years, I didn't really wear it, but I, at this point, have had this on for 23 years.
How about that?
And I never take it off.
Points to BT for knowing what that meant, right?
Mm-hmm. I'll never forget once I called a cab in Salt Lake City, and as I'm walking up to it, the guy that was driving, he was Maori, and he said, "Oh, you go to Whalebone." he was such a cool guy. I loved him. Kiwi was his name.
Nice. Where was that?
In Salt Lake City. I called a cab. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it is about 8 minutes to 8. So I say we do a sticker giveaway. So you're going to add in some swag from Anni Furniss and from John. You've got Blind Woodsman sticker, and you had mentioned something else, Annie, too? Excellent. So I don't have my stickers to show anybody, but they know what they look like. So this is going to be this is spontaneous, by the way. So if somebody from somewhere else in the world wins, are you okay to ship it like to Canada? Or
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Okay, so anybody can enter to win, and the way this works is I'm going to show a word on the screen, and then folks will enter in the live chat exactly what they see on the screen, and then we'll do a random drawing. So what you're going to do is you're going to share in the live chat the phrase as you see it, and today's phrase, because Annie is so awesome, hashtag Annie, ANNI, no spaces, and it can be uppercase or lowercase, doesn't matter, but enter in there hashtag Annie, because she's our extra special guest tonight with John. So we'll let folks enter those. You can see the numbers climbing up there.
Nice.
And somebody will win a whole bunch of stuff. Stickers from me and from you.
Very nice.
Yeah, thank you for spelling my name right.
Yep.
Well, my wife's name is Ann, and she spells it AYN. So there's like several different ways to spell. So and I'll be honest, when I typed up the thumbnail for the video, it just came out ANNIE.
Yes.
And I had to backspace and say, no, that's not right.
Thank you.
So again, the students who are watching live, I want to thank you for watching, and I'm so glad that they're actually. Let me do this here, because Roger, who's at the ranch, he sent me this picture.
Ah, cool.
And I will. Oh boy, let me see that. Well, you know what? I'll have to show it after we finish this drawing, because.
You know how many kids are watching from there?
About 15.
Oh, awesome.
Nice group.
We would love to send them stickers.
Oh, fantastic! Did you hear that, kids? They'd like to send you something, so I'll be sure to get you the address for the ranch. And,
okay, awesome. We'll send them that.
All right. Well, we've got some entries here. We're going to hit the draw button here in just a moment. Here we go. Let's see who tonight's winner is. It's our friend Kent from Hope Construction. Congratulations, Kent. Kent is a longtime watcher of the live stream. So congratulations, Kent. What I'm going to have to do is have Kent send me an email, and I will share Kent's address with you, Annie and John. Kent, let me just put this on the screen for you. My email address is contactmcgtv@gmail.com. So Kent, send me an email with your name and your postal address. I'll send you some stickers, and I will get your address over to John and Annie, and they'll send you something too. So that's fantastic. Congratulations. Now let me grab this picture here and do this the John Ritter way of doing it, where I'm just going to hold this up to the screen. I'm going to go full screen here for just a moment so people can see. And this is the students there watching.
Oh, I love it.
Cool.
Awesome.
Got two TV monitors going there. So there we are. And now let me bring you back without bumping you from the show. So I want to thank you both for being here tonight and again sharing your story. I know it's a big story and we could talk for a long time. You have a video, John, on YouTube where you spoke in Vancouver. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Vancouver, Washington.
It was a few years ago, but you told your story and you did it sincerely and humorously at the same time, like a kind of a TED Talk style.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to look you up on YouTube and they can find that. And of course, go over to TikTok. That's where your main, that's your main form of social media, I suppose, right? Is TikTok?
Yeah, I mean, Instagram has become pretty popular lately. Our algorithms on TikTok have slowed down, but yeah, Instagram and TikTok are our main, and Facebook are our main places.
And you can find them anywhere social media is available, right?
And one of our missions is to dispel the stigma around, mental health and feeling suicidal and anxious. It's not, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to reach out for help. It's okay to give help. And the more we spread that message, the better.
So true, John. And I know it's so hard for people. And I think the strongest message that I've heard from you, from folks like you, is to let people know they are not alone. I mean, it's a lonely place. I know mental health is a lonely place for people, and nobody can bring them through that except themselves, which makes it even lonelier. You need to be, I know you need to be willing to put the work in, which you certainly have done, but you're not alone. And there are people who have been there. There are people who want to help you, and folks like John and Annie here. So thank you for that. I mean, it's so true. And I'm happy that we're at a place in the world now where mental health is talked about more than it ever has been. We have a long way to go, but we've learned so much and we've gotten more comfortable sharing, which I think is going to help a lot of people.
Yeah.
So,
thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you so much.
Fun time. I look forward to keep staying in touch with you. And I appreciate that we've become at least pen pals through email, but I feel that we have a friendship happening, and I just really, I love you guys, and I think it's great, that for everything you do. So I just want to thank you for being here.
Oh, we love you too, Ed.
We love you too, Ed. Thank you
very much. All right. Well, folks who are watching, I want to thank you for watching tonight. A little different kind of live stream tonight, but what a great message from Annie and John, and always a good conversation. Thank you to the students at the ranch for participating and for presenting those thoughtful and insightful questions. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's program, and I look forward to seeing you all next time.